Turn that off. It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I am Steve, and we are going to be your host for the next 45 minutes or so. And, well, maybe not that long. We're talking Tigers talk, so. I mean, I don't know if we have 45 minutes to fill with, oh, they lost again. But, you know, we do our best.
The most disappointing thing, so we're filming this on Tuesday, August 15th, and
Yep.
And Tigers ended up just losing to the Twins 5-3. And the most disappointing thing about this loss is that Riley Green went 0-4. So that sucks.
Yep. Well, him and Torkelson, it seemed like they were doing, over the last several games, kind of leading the charge, which is what you've been expecting.
It has been, and Torkelson did hit another home run today. It was a solo shot. So, again, that's he just needs to be more consistent. I think I've been talking about consistency a lot recently.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain baseball players, but yeah, Torkelson definitely needs to be more consistent, because he definitely has the tools to be a great hitter, but he just hasn't, shown up consistently that way. So,
right.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? Anyway,
right.
But yeah, so Tiger talk. All right. Oh boy. So again, there's not a lot to say about the Tigers. They actually did win a season series.
Season
It
series.
looks like they're going to win one against the Twins and one against the Guardians.
Right. But
no, I'm
again,
sorry, Royals. Twins and Royals.
Twins and Royals. But that's at the beginning of the season, when we did our preseason Tigers talk, you said one thing, and it's kind of resonated with me through this whole season, was the Tigers are going to win the series that there's against the bad teams. And that has what's been happening. Right?
100%.
We obviously the season started out with a bang when they beat the Rays, right?
Yes, it did.
Right?
Yeah.
So, there was a little bit of hope right at the beginning, but it was 3 games, but you took the series from the Rays, who have been contenders for several years, right?
Yeah.
So, but what you have said has started to come to fruition.
Yeah.
We talk about Javi Baez a lot, and just how he's been on the ball field, or specifically at the plate. But he has been away from the team. For anyone that knows, if you have been reading the news, they put him on bereavement leave. He had a death in the family. I believe it was an uncle. But we send our condolences to the Baez family.
Absolutely.
As they go through this, because it's never easy. And honestly, just speaking personally, I feel like it doesn't get any easier.
We just had a conversation, talking about certain things that's more important in sports, and family definitely ranks right up there. And even though I do not like Baez as a ball player, especially being a ball player on the Tigers, he's still a person, still a human being, and loss, like that, loss of that nature, it hurts. So
it does.
Definitely want to send condolences, as my brother said. It's not an easy time, with family that way. So just definitely a lot of thoughts, going out his way, and Just again, it hurts, and we wish the Baez family the best.
Absolutely. And you know, uh, but besides that, like I said, Tigers are well, the Tigers just are.
Or I would argue they aren't.
Aren't. They aren't. So back in I think it was the 70s, the New Orleans Saints, they were so bad that the fans, they called them the Aints,
Yeah.
and they would wear paper bags over their head. That's that's kind of how I feel about the Tigers right now.
It's yes, overall, absolutely. The sad thing is they're actually doing better than last year as far as wins go. They're projected to win more games than last year. They're projected to win more games than what I predicted them to win. Um, and we'll see at the end though if they actually win that many. They
Yep.
got 53 wins right now. I projected them to win somewhere in the 60s. So I did not
Yep.
think they'd win 70 games. So they got 17 more to win to prove me wrong.
And I went high water mark, and I said 80, I think.
Yep.
I went kind of out of the park. But I just wanted to be different than my brother. Oh, you're just saying everything your brother says. Not this time.
uh,
So if they can pull out an 80, actually, if they can do a 78,
yeah. Yeah, that'd be
I'm going to say
amazing.
it's 80, and I'm going to say I win.
I'll give you the win. 100%. I'd give you the win.
But yeah. So yeah, I kind of just went outside the ballpark there and said, let's give a number. 80 is a good round number.
And and you got to look at this roster. All right.
Yeah.
I think when you're looking at this roster, just how bad is it? And
Yeah.
the roster tells a pretty telling story, you know. And and this is kind of what I was looking at earlier today, brother. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple people in the minor leagues that are really, really close. Positional players, not pitchers, because, we're so bad positionally. We got a couple baseball players in the minors that's ready to kind of make the jump to the majors. All right. And I
Yep.
think we all know Colt Keith is probably on everybody's, mind first. Like we got to get, he's a hitter. Let's get him in
Yep.
on the Tigers roster. Malloy is another one. Um, and with with aside from Malloy, Parker Meadows is probably the next closest. And Parker Meadows, for anybody that was listening to our podcast during the preseason, spring training, I said that I thought Parker Meadows had an outside chance to actually make the roster out of spring training. I liked a lot of what he was doing during
Yeah.
spring training, and I thought, hey, if he's able to carry that over into, you expect him to have growing pains, but if he's able to kind of grow into the system and kind of grow in the major leagues, that's kind of what I was thinking. He might have an outside shot of making it, but he did
Mm-hmm.
not make it, and it's probably for the best. Um, but and then the last person that's probably the closest to make the jump is going to be Jace Young. He's 22 right now. He got drafted last year, and he's only in Double A. But he's had a little bit of growing pains as well. But he is right on the verge of getting the call up. So between Colt Keith, Jace Young, Justin Henry Malloy, Parker Meadows, and then that's like the first group getting ready to come up, right? So positional players specifically is what I'm talking about. So,
Yep.
um, so I was listening to this
So,
this this YouTube video real quick, right?
yep.
And he makes a good point. When's the last time you had say three rookies come in the league the same year, and they all produced like veterans or whatever, right? They all produced well as rookies
Yep.
in the first year. It doesn't happen very often.
Oh,
So,
I was gonna
you know,
say, are you talking about just with the Tigers or across the league in general?
across the league in general.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's happened.
I'd say the closest would probably be Baltimore this year, between like, Adley Rushman and um, Gunnar Henderson, Kauser. I don't know. They got like a load of just young talent over there. And even Grayson Rodriguez, you can even include him in on that, but as a pitcher.
Okay.
But it's just not normal, anyways. And the Reds are coming
Okay.
really close this year too, you know, with Ellie De La Cruz leading the way. But
Yeah.
um, at any rate, it's just not common, anyways. Throughout the years of baseball, that a lot of and for Tigers, I think the last thing I could think of would probably be around '78 when Trammell and Whitaker came up together, and I think
Yeah.
Jack Morris was also in that year. I think all three of them were in that year. I was trying to think of a Tiger connection. That's the last one I can think of.
Okay.
Um, but at any
So,
rate, right? Like, um, so and we're talking about these prospects because you look at the 40-man roster.
yeah.
Wow, dude, just you don't really like unless you actually are faced with the players, you don't really think about it, I guess. As far as just
Yeah.
how bad they really are in terms of
Right.
talent. So if you're looking at 40 people, you're lucky if 10 of them, 10, have carved out a role for a long-term stint on the Tigers.
Okay.
That's terrible
Positional players or just in general?
in general. Pitchers
In
too.
general. Okay.
Yeah,
Pitchers too. All right.
yeah, because pitchers do count for the 40 man, and I think even the pitching staff has faced a lot of adversity, um, and I just don't know if they're able to make it. I guess, right? Like
Yeah.
like Trey Winginer. Like I don't really think he's here long term. Joey Wentz
Yeah.
probably not here long term. Spencer Turnbull probably not here long term. Freddie Pacheco probably not. Eduardo Rodriguez, he has an opt out. Maybe he opts out after this year.
Yep.
I'd assume he does. He's not here long term. Reese Olson,
Yeah.
you can kind of make maybe. Casey Mize, sure, at this point. Matt Manning, he hasn't shown a lot since he's been back from injury, but, maybe. Alex Lang, I've been a defender of his for a while just because his stuff is nasty, but the guy just walks so many batters, it just doesn't,
Yep.
at some point, I'd probably give him one more year personally, but if he doesn't improve, then he's gone too, right? Like, so is he really,
Right.
can you really count him here long term? Tyler Holton, he made probably, maybe. Hill, no. Foley, yes. Faedo, no. Englert, no. Cisnero, no. Calvero, no. Bo Brisk, I think he's much better out of the bullpen than he is. I made that comment during spring training. He seemed to get shelled as a starter, but as a reliever, the dude had increased velocity, had better break. I just think Bo Brisky is going to be a great reliever, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need great relievers in this league, and I just think that's where
All
he's
right.
going to thrive. Matthew Boyd, no, and Tyler Alexander, no. Like, I mean, you got all these pitchers, and maybe four of them, maybe five, are long terms, and then you look at the as far as the positional players, right? Haas, no. Rogers, probably. Sands, no.
Yeah.
Baez, he's probably going to be here long term just because of his contract, but not because of his play.
Just yeah. That's a
Right.
contract. It's not talent. That's a contract.
Yeah. Diaz, no. Ibanez, no. Creedler, no. Edis Leonard, he just got here from the Dodgers. We have to see exactly, what he's about, but
Yeah.
the Dodgers gave up on him, so who knows? Andre Lipschitz, he had a setback this year. I'd still say no for him. Matan, no. Nevin, no. Winfield Perez, no. Zach Short, no. Spencer Torkelson, yes. That's our infielders, right? And out of our infielders, there's
Yeah.
two people that's a yes. One because of a contract situation. and one because I think the people still believe in Spencer Torkelson. That's it, right, for infield. And then outfield, Akil Baddoo, no. Kerry Carpenter, yes. Riley Green, absolutely. He's the face of the franchise. Zach McKinstry, no.
Yep.
Parker Meadows, yes. Austin Meadows, no. And Matt Vierling, yes.
Yeah.
So out of 40 people, that's who we're looking at. So that's why we need to look into our farm system to see who we can bring up that actually can make a difference. And we're struggling there too. So, like at least right now, August 15th, looking ahead to next year, I know it's premature, but next year don't look much better than this year.
Right. I mean, we have some players that they're gonna bring up, right? So I was looking at an article that I sent you. It was kind of the Tigers, prospect notebook kind of thing. It was SB Nation was the article. So they were talking about Colt Keith and the series against the Columbus Clippers that they had, and he had two-run homers in 2 days. So he's killing the ball like 400 feet. The one of them, they said they said it was 398 feet, like on the telecast, but looking at where it landed or where it went, they're saying it could have been closer to 450 feet. Like he just took the cover off the ball.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So, in one game, Colt Keith this is who they highlighted. Meadows went 1 for 2 with a double and 2 walks. Keith was 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, a homer, and a K. Gibson Long went 5 innings. Leonard was 2 for 4 with an RBI and a double. And that in one game. And the next game, Colt Keith again hits another 2-run homer. Leonard went 3 for 4 with 3 runs and 2 RBIs, a homer. Rizzo was 2 for 4. Creedley, did I say that right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was 1 for 3. So, another, some prospects who were hitting the ball well. Keith in the other game went 2 for 4 with a walk. Nevin was 2 for 3. Lipcius, Lipcius. He was 2 for 4. Pitching, Wentz went 5 2/3 with 4 hits and 6 Ks. So, but then they even went down. I'm guessing this is Double A. At the next level here, but Justice Bigby hit his 15th homer of the season and his 4th in the month of August. So, he was 2 for 4 there with a homer. And then they talked about Jackson Jobe out at West Michigan, playing out team out there with, who is it called? The Whitecaps, the West Michigan Whitecaps. And they said he was throwing 98 mile an hour consistently. So, but it was his changeup that was really getting the batters because, when you throw hard and you have a good changeup, timing is way off. Right?
Of course, yeah.
So, Joe went 5 innings. He had 3 earned runs, looked like 7 hits, 1 walk, and 8 Ks in 5 innings. So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good game to me.
He's come a long way. He had some injury issues a little bit last year, but his last few starts, he's been really good.
Right. Now, I've heard some things, and you can confirm or deny, but about Jackson Jobe and the Tigers fans, that's not the player that they wanted to get in that draft.
Player I wanted. No, there was that whole baseball draft. There were so many shortstops, and we were hurting at shortstop. I know you don't always draft for need; you want to draft for talent and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but there were so many um, like shortstops in that draft that and Marcelo Meyer was the one that everybody was looking at as being um, like the top shortstop in the draft, and he was thought to go either number one or number two because Tigers had the third pick overall, but they did not take him. Right, that's when they took Jackson Jobe. Marcelo Meyer went the very next pick number four to Boston. Then Jordan Lawler went number six to the Diamondbacks, and that dude is looking like he is going to be a stud. Um, and then even further down, we gotta go like much further down the list. Where the next shortstop was taken, and Khalil Watson, um, and he was just traded from Miami just recently, but he's had some off the diamond issues. But he is also pretty talented. Matt McLean then got drafted 17 to the Reds, and why that is important is because he made his debut this year with Cincinnati, and he is having a great year for a rookie. Max Muncy, Jackson Merrill, and Carson Williams. They all went in the first round, but it's crazy just the amount of shortstops that went, and we got Jackson Jobe.
And that wasn't that the draft you were telling me that they picked all pitchers? Did they pick any positional player that draft?
Oh, that was not the Tigers. That was, I think it was the Angels 2022 draft where they picked all pitchers. Yeah.
All right.
No, this one.
Well, you talk about the Angels enough.
Yeah.
As far as for a specific reason. Anyway, I confused the two. Okay.
So for this one specifically, according to what everybody's saying is they took Jackson Jobe because they wanted to save on their rookie pool money instead of going with Marcelo Meyer or somebody else. Because in the end, for a compensatory pick, competitive balance, they were able to get Ty Madden. And I still think Ty Madden is could be a pretty good pitcher for them. We'll have to see how he pans out. And then Isaac Pacheco, they picked him out of high school in the second round, 39th overall, and when he did some batting practice after he was drafted, there was a lot of like, wow, this guy is hitting really good and all this kind of stuff. So, but he has since fallen off a lot. So, I don't even think Isaac Pacheco. I think he's in the top 30 now, but I don't think for top 30 just for the Tigers. But he's fallen way down the list. Yeah, he's number 30. He used to be in the top 10 for the Tigers. I can't exactly remember where he was at, but he's had a real rough year, and they dropped him all the way down to 30, just in the Tigers system.
Yeah. So speaking of the Tigers system, right? Max Clark, our top prospect this year.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is SB Nation talking about the pipeline ranks Max Clark as the Tigers' new top prospect. But it also says that the Tigers have 4 in the top 100 now, according to MLB Pipeline. And the new top 30 in the system is also available there. So I'm going to have to go there and actually see if I can find that information. But it says Clark checks in as the 15th best prospect in baseball on the new top 100, which features Baltimore Orioles prospect Jackson Holliday as the top prospect in the game.
Yep.
Keith is ranked at 26th. Yes. Jackson Jobe is ranked at 59th. And Jace Young, it's Young. Rounds it out the top 100. Young?
Yeah.
Number 72. So, when you're looking at it, you got Max Clark, Colt Keith. And Max Clark, in his first 2 weeks of pro ball, well, I think it was his first at bat, hits a walk-off home run. I don't know if I know it's been 10 days since we talked.
Well, it wasn't his first at bat, but
What was his first? It was his first game.
no,
It was his first game.
no,
No.
it was just his first walk off
All right.
in his career, but it was
In
not
his career.
Yeah.
All right. Third over pick. Here it is. Clark did something he's never done before. Oh yeah, he had a walk off. There it is. Yep. So it wasn't his first at bat. That's right. Because he'd already been up there, and he said he watched that pitch go by, and he missed on it. And he says I wasn't going to let that happen again when he came up again, and he threw him the exact same pitch, and he just crushed it.
So, speaking of Max Clark, here's why I love the guy. All right, and this should tell you about his tools. The guy's played in 8 games. He has 8 hits. All right, now out of the 8 hits, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So 7 of his 8 hits are extra base hits. He's also knocked in 8 RBIs, and he scored himself 7 times with 1 stolen base. So the guy is a menace on the base pass, right? The ball goes in the gap. He's double, triple machine. That's what this guy's going to be. He's not going to be a 40 home run hitter. He's going to be doubles and triples. And we said that from the beginning. That's what the new regime wants here in Detroit. Although he does have 2 home runs, like I stated earlier. But still, 7 of his 8 hits are extra base hits, and he currently has an OPS of 1,072 and a slugging of 690. Like, that's why I love this kid. And you can, he's not a Dylan Cruz. I understand that, but Dylan Cruz was not available, right? So you can't blame him for not going Dylan Cruz, right? Because they didn't have a chance at him.
Right.
So the only thing you can actually talk about then would be what's the guy's name out of Florida? Wyatt Langford, right? That's the only person you can actually compare him to.
That's right.
Yeah. So when we look at what Langford has done so far, he has done nothing. He hasn't played.
Yeah. Wow.
Wait, has he? Oh, wait. It's down here. He only played 3 games. He's got a home run, a 385 average, 429 on base, and an 846 slugging with a 1275 ops. So, yeah, he's doing pretty decent for the 3 games that he's played, certainly. Yep, so he's not doing too bad either. Baseball Reference almost failed me, but I was able to find it.
Yeah, games at bats. So you're talking. Who are you talking about? Langford? No.
Yeah. So
that was
Langford.
Langford.
It was Langford. That was in rookies ball, right? So he's also played 9 games already in High A. So in High A, he's still doing really good with 31 at bats. He's got 11 hits, 4 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. 355 average, 500 on base, 710 slugging, and 1210 ops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of getting it done.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So, but Max Clark, in my opinion, will always be compared to Wyatt Langford. So, we'll just have to see what they how they compare at the end of their careers.
Right. Yeah. So Langford, because Langford came out of college, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's going to be 22.
So that's why he got.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be 22 in November.
So he's already moved up where Max Clark's still playing rookie ball, right?
Yes.
On the rookie league?
Yep.
Okay. But look, I assume at the rookie league they're using wood bats, right? And I know we've talked about the difference between going from an aluminum bat to a wood bat. And for Max Clark to have adjusted, I assume he's probably on the side been swinging a wooden bat, right?
I assume so.
Prior to been drafted, I would
Yeah.
assume that he's been swinging that just to get the feel. Because 8 games, 8 hits, 7 of them. I mean, the guy's just fast. You talked about, you know, the guy's quick on the base. So
Yeah.
when you talk about the extra base hits, that's if you can get a hit and now you be in scoring position, right? So, you know, the next 2 people behind you, you know, 3 people get a chance to try and knock you in. I mean, those are winning. You're starting to accumulate runs. You're starting to accumulate wins.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to call out Kevin McGonigal real quick too. All right, because he's also
Okay.
in rookie ball on the same team as Max Clark. Now, I'll keep saying it over and over again because eventually people are going to listen to me. All right. The reason we've drafted the players we did is the new regime cares more about getting on base and getting base hits into the gaps more than home runs. Period. That's it. So Kevin McGonigal, he was drafted in the compensatory round in the first. He's played in 6 games. He's got 5 hits for a 294 average. Okay. I mean, you're thinking, okay. I mean, no triples, no home runs, only 1 RBI with 5 hits. Okay. Dude, he's only struck out twice, 5 stolen bases, and 10 walks. 10 walks in
That's incredible.
6 games with 2
That
strikeouts.
is incredible.
This is what we're talking about
So,
for
yeah.
what we're looking for the Tigers right now.
Yeah, because that's the walks. The ops takes in the walks, right? Being getting on base, correct?
Yes. That's
Yes.
part of it, yes.
So, right. But if he's been on base 15 times.
He has an on-base percentage of .571. Now, obviously, it's only 6 games, right?
Yep.
But
No. But it's 6 games with 10 walks. To me, I'm just breaking that down by the amount of times like walks, right?
yeah,
Per game.
yeah,
So he's almost walked twice a game. He's almost getting a hit. So that's three times he's on base per game so far. 2.36, I think, is what the number comes out to be, but whatever. If you want to be more accurate, that's my brother. I can see him doing the math in his head right now.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. So you come back and get, well, actually, brother, it's this. But I'm going to try and beat you to the punch.
so
But anyway,
so let's look at Max Alexander for a second, or Max Anderson. Sorry, Max Anderson. Right, he got drafted later on. He got drafted out of college. He's now in A ball, and went straight to A ball. Okay, so 12 games played for him, 5 doubles in 12 games already, 2 home runs as well. So 7 of his 13 hits have been for extra bases, and he's walked 4 times. Like, again, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those types of players. And I am super excited.
do you have a number for what the Tigers as a team, their average on base percentage? Do they have
Yeah, they have
Yeah?
a team.
Because when you look at right now at our hitters, that's what we're lacking. It's just getting on base, right? There's got to be I assume there's some kind of stat about number of batters left on base, right?
Oh man, yeah, they got all those stats. Geez, I don't even know what that would be. I'd have to look. So let's see here. So on base percentage for the Tigers right now, they're 29th out of 30 teams with a 299 on base percentage.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go over these. Why not? What the hell?
Yeah.
So they're 27th in batting average.
We're trying to fill 10 more minutes.
Yeah, why not? So the batting average is 234, good for 27. Runs scored, 29th out of 30. Home runs, 28th out of 30. On base percentage, 29th out of 30, as I said. Slugging percentage, 29th out of 30.
Yeah.
This is why we lose games. They can't get on base, they can't hit, they can't score runs. I don't care how good your pitching is.
Right.
Not that the pitching has been great. It's been kind of a little bit less than middle of the road. But but regardless, right? Like, if you don't score runs, you can't win a freaking game. And that's where we're at. We can't win a game because we don't score. This offense is terrible.
Yes, they are. And that's, but like you said, after the draft, when we did our show of the draft picks after the MLB draft, that's what you talked about was the players that we took were guys who were gonna get on base, because eventually, people who get on base tend to make it home at some point when things start to click, right? Because it's going to be games where you're going to leave, you could leave 10 on base, right? But, and not bring that, and have only scored 2 runs. So, there are going to be times where that happens. It is what it is. But the lower that number gets after every game, I think obviously the more runs you score, the better chance we have of winning. So hits equate to runs at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
And I shouldn't just say hits. I should say getting on base equates to runs.
And I don't
eventually.
care if it's a home run or back-to-back doubles. Who cares? It's still a single run, right? Like, I don't care how it happens. But most of the time you're not going to have the people that can hit, for 300 plus and have 40 plus home runs. They're rare, very rare. Dylan Cruz is probably going to be one of those guys, and Wyatt Langford has a shot at it. Sure, but those players are rare. A lot of times those players that hit with power, you'd be lucky if they hit 250. You're lucky if their on base percentage is 350. So
right.
Yeah, they can change the game with one swing of the bat. But again, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. It's consistency. Like if you're consistently getting on base and consistently putting yourself in to score a run, you're going to be more consistent with scoring runs than what you are with a team full of home run hitters. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
So. And Tiger Stadium, where they're going to play half their games, you got big gaps in that outfield. So people that's able to hit the ball in the gap, they're going to succeed in a Tigers uniform. So
I just want to know when we're going to have the next Tony Gwynn. And I'd like him to be on the Tigers team.
You can kind of say Luis Arraez at this point, just because he's he kind of fits in the Gwynn mold. He's left-handed, and he gets on base and doesn't hit home runs. Like, I think that's Tony Gwynn hitter right there. But I don't know. I mean,
but he averaged only. All right, well, and I know you probably know this. Like, as I'm reading this, it says 29 times over 162 games played. That was his average strikeouts per year.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn, number of times he struck out. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just absolutely incredible. Like, he walked 790 times in his career.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's in the 3,000 hit club. Unbelievable. Because when you put his walks and his hits together with his number of at-bats, I don't know. I like his numbers. That's. I think that's what the Tigers are trying to build. Right? It's not going to be Tony Gwynn, but we want guys who are like that mold. Puts the ball in play, willing to wait on their pitch, swing at the pitch when it's come at him, willing to walk. Just, get on the base. That's it. Yeah, home runs are great. Home runs are fantastic. Every time you hear out of this way 400 plus feet, that's a really long way.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So,
but that's one swing of the bat.
let me ask you this. All right, Spencer Torkelson. He has 495 plate appearances this year, or 496 plate appearances this year. All right.
Okay.
Arraez has 484 plate appearances this year. So,
okay.
First question is Spencer Torkelson. He has 18 home runs versus Luis Arraez 5. So almost 4 times the amount of home runs.
True. Yeah.
Okay. So they have close to the same amount of plate appearances. So how many strikeouts do you think Spencer Torkelson has in almost 500 plate appearances?
I don't know, 72.
120.
120.
120.
I should have went with my first guess, which I was gonna say 100, but I felt like that was a limit.
It is.
So 120 is even more.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So give me the numbers for Reyes.
You want to guess how many strikeouts he has this year?
Less than 50.
That is true. In fact, he's never struck out 50 times in a single year since he's been in the majors.
Okay.
He's at 20,
less than 30?
He's at 29 right now.
29.
29.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
So, let's look at something. Obviously, Torkelson has more home runs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they bat in different parts of the order, right? Torkelson's more in the meat. Arraez is more at the top.
Yep.
So Torkelson should, in theory, have more opportunities to get RBIs in. He has 63 RBIs. Arraez has 58. Which
so it's we're close.
It kind of makes sense because again, we're Arraez is batting, right?
Well, yeah, because now you're counting on someone at the bottom of the line to be on base for him to get an RBI.
Correct.
Basically, he's at the top of the lineup because Arraez is getting on base. So the people in 3, 4, 5 have that go put it and bring him in kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So total base is the stat, like how many times. So like if you get to first base, it doesn't matter, if you get to first base on a hit, or then steal second, or then get to third because someone sacrificed themselves to get you to third base, right? Every time you get to an extra base, it counts as 1 extra total bases. So a home run counts as 4 total bases, a single counts as 1 total bases, a single, and then you get into third because of a hit in the gap or whatever, still 3 bases. So how many bases do you get around, for so far for the entire year? Spencer Torkelson is at 181 this year. Arraez is at 210. So about 30 more, right?
Okay.
So in theory, 30 more total bases. There's only 4, of course, bases in baseball. That means that Arraez would have scored, potentially 7 more runs than what Torkelson has so far in the current year. So,
right.
It's just something, food for thought, right? Like, but Arraez is kind of the hitter that I think that the Detroit front office is looking for.
Exactly. I believe that. I mean, when you look at the stats if you've heard them, That's what these players are doing, right? They're getting on base. They're having extra base hits, right? They're helping their team by getting on base and getting in the scoring position.
Well, even just not striking out, right? Maybe you hit a ground ball to the opposite side of the field and advance a runner from second to third, and that runner eventually scores on a sacrifice fly, right? Like, just not striking out can help your team.
Yeah. Making contact with the ball. You know, so they have, in 5 years, I think the Tigers are going to be good.
Well, here's my worry. So you can mark this one up if you want. All right?
Okay.
I'm worried about their pitching now. Like, I know we had conversations
Okay.
about the Tigers pitching and how they develop pitching, and I think they've done a pretty good job of developing pitching. You know, they're right around the middle mark right now, and that's without, you know, some of their better pitchers, you know, playing because they've been injured. You know, Scuba didn't play a whole year. Matt Manning didn't play a whole year. Casey Mize didn't play at all. You know, and those are three of their best pitchers. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking at those top three pitchers, but after them, Jackson Jobe, we'll see what he does. We don't really know yet, right? But after Jackson Jobe, you don't really have a fifth starter, right? Matt Manning hasn't really proven since he's come back from injury that he is of starter quality. He struggled. Casey Mize, by the time he comes back next year, it'll be almost 2 years since he's thrown in a game situation. So you don't really know what he's going to give you. So if you're talking about in 5 years, are they going to be better positionally and better offensively? Yes. But now you're starting to look at the pitching side of things, and that's starting to be a little bit of a concern, you know, because you know you don't have like a lot like last year you'd seriously think Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, and Matt Manning as a good 1, 2, 3. Just find a you know, some, you know, middling fourth, you know, guy, and then you can have like someone, I don't know, like in your farm system come up to pitch, you know, as your fifth starter. Like that's kind of what you're looking at. Maybe like a Reese Olson as your fifth starter, right? Or maybe you could do something to sign, you know, Eduardo Rodriguez, which could be your number 2, because I think Eduardo Rodriguez is a good number 2, not a number 1. But and hopefully Casey Mize or Tarek Skubal could fill your number 1. And so now between that, you got, you know, 4 decent starters if Matt Manning came back around, and then you just need something like Reese Olson to fill in and be your fifth. Like that could be a pretty good starting rotation. But you don't know Casey Mize, like I was saying. Matt Manning hasn't bounced back. Eduardo Rodriguez is probably going to go ahead and opt out. Tarek Skubal is probably your best pitcher. It doesn't matter as a starter or a reliever. Like any pitcher on your roster, he's probably the best pitcher you got. So now what? Like without knowing the future, you know, that's why I'm a little concerned with the pitching. Now, of course, you can address it in free agency or the draft, you know, obviously, but
right.
I'd say in 5 years, that's more of my concern than the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
That's all we can do.
You said it today. Yeah, you said it today. In 5 years, we'll revisit.
I don't think we'll remember that far ahead, but you know, hey, mark it in your calendar, Steve. 5 years.
That's right. I'm gonna put it right here. It's going in the phone.
All right, put it in the phone.
So, but yeah, that's you know, the Tigers in general. We know they're not playing well, right? But there is some hope. There's some players down in, you know, because at the beginning of the season, you said that's where we were weak, as our farm system was bad.
Yeah.
Right? We were not developing players other than pitching. So I think it looks like that they're trying to improve that through the draft, through some trades. We'll see where those, you know, the trades kind of play out. I'm not sure we talked about it. I mean, he's a former Tiger player, but Lorenzen in his second start with his new team. Was it the Phillies, right? He went to the Phillies.
Yeah.
Threw a no-hitter. You know? So congratulations to him, because that's awesome.
And I just want to reiterate, my preseason predictions was that Lorenzen would be the best pitcher on the Tiger staff this year.
Yep. And now he's not on the staff, but, you know, that's a no-hitter. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Yes, it is. Big congrats to him. You know, but you mentioned trades as well, and we haven't really talked a lot about Hao Yu Lee. I mean, we did, you know,
Yep.
but briefly, and that's part of it, right? Like, yeah, we traded, we got Hao Yu Lee. Speaking of, you know, Lorenzen, 'cause that's where he came from. He came from the Phillies.
Yep.
And you know, but he kind of fits that mold we've been talking about, you know. So, Hao Yu Lee, I think, has a chance to develop into a pretty decent major league player. You know, again, it's all about development at this point in time. That's all it is. It's all about development. Like, these guys have the talent. We got the talent in the system.
Right.
Can we develop that talent?
Absolutely.
And that's, you know,
So that's what we're.
I know I'm kind of crossing
But that.
sports, but that was a Lions problem for such a long time.
Yeah. Like, couldn't capitalize on the talent we had on the team.
Right.
Yeah. So, I just, you know, to develop talent, you got to have the people on at those other levels that know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, with this new regime, I assume they're taking a hard look at those people and making those determinations about, you know, who we have to have in place. Who's falling in line with our motto.
It does seem like they're being held more
Right.
accountable, which is nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. But you know, without, you know, beating the dead tiger, you know, I think that's pretty much wraps up our Tigers talk. I mean, we kind of covered it, didn't we?
We did, you know, and I think it's because we haven't made a video in so long and kind of a lot to say, but, you know, it's
Yeah.
but yeah, that covers it, I think.
All right. Well-
one quick thing. Miguel Cabrera
Yeah.
is not going to be on the team next year. So he's probably one of the best Tigers that were put on, you know, one of the best players that were put on a Tiger uniform, and one of the best hitters
Yeah.
in just in general in terms of Major League Baseball. So if you're listening to this and you like baseball, don't forget, one last time, tune it in, watch him play before he is done for good.
Yeah. Yeah, because look, if you've watched any of the games and the ovation that man gets
At every ballpark.
at every ballpark, like, we talked about being good humans, not just a ball player. I mean, I think he represents that. And when he got the standing ovation when he was at Miami, because that's where he started, right? Like, when he came out when he was there with his family, that was a very moving moment, right? That Miami still appreciates that man for the time, you know, because he's been a Tiger a long time.
Yeah.
So that just tells you something about him as a person, about how he's received everywhere he goes.
Now, he did have some personal issues, and I'm only bringing this up not to bash him, but just, you know, he did have some personal issues that he had to overcome. You know, he got called the cops on him for domestic abuse, you know, and, you know, he was, you know, drinking and all that kind of stuff, and now, you know, he changed his life around, right? Like, he's not that guy no more, and he's actually a really good guy. You can see he's happy, he loves life, you know, and he's just a completely different person than what he was. So, you know, again, kudos to him. I don't know if he had to seek professional help or not for that, but if he did, again, good for him. getting professional help is not a bad thing.
It is not.
So, we're my brother and I are big believers in mental health, and you gotta do what you gotta
Yep.
do in order to improve your mental health. And it's perfectly acceptable, and I would even advocate for it. Seek professional help if you need it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, people gotta have an outlet. You gotta have something to, even if it's that one person that's not gonna judge them, it's just gonna listen to what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a huge difference in someone's life.
Yeah, it does. So, anyways, yeah, brother, that's about all I got, man. I just wanted to bring up Miguel Cabrera real
right.
quick because I don't want people to just take it for granted and just forget and just wish they had one more game to watch. So, just want to bring that up.
Right. Yeah, because I'd love to go back and see, Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker again.
Well, Barry Sanders, right? Like, I mean,
Barry, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, brother. Well, this is we'll sign off, and this is gonna be a good episode, and I need everyone out there to take a listen, share it with your friends.
And let us know what you think. Do you agree with us or not?
Absolutely.
So, stay tuned. Later this week, we'll be making a Lions episode at some point. So, watch for that.
Absolutely.
All right. And with that, we'll see you next video.
We are out.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.